All right, good morning. Welcome to our Foundations of Kung Fu program for our summer series. This is going to be our last class in the month of July. We'll be heading into our August classes starting next week. So if you want to jump in, be a part of our August classes, don't forget to sign up, and I'll get those links out over the weekend. Okay, let's get our feet settled in the ground. Let's get ourselves warmed up here. Just a little rise and fall of the head. And looking from side to side. And shoulder to shoulder. A couple of half circles in the front. Good. And shoulders can go backwards. Shoulders can go forwards. Let's go arms circle one way. And arms can circle the other. We'll reach up and lean to one side. And to the other. Again to the first side. And the second. Let those arms go nice and loose. Wrap around the body. And a bit of shoulder stretch on one side. And on the other. And then we're going to go over the head and pull. And same on the other side. And then behind the back and pull. And same on the other arm. Good. Arms over the head. We're going to twist. Let those arms rise and fall. So let's go nice and loose. And then the other way. Good. And shake it out. Let's warm up the hips. Hips around one way. And around the other. One more time. The first way. And the second. Okay, continuing on the hips, we're going to go from the inside to the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From the outside to the inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Up to your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up to the chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And crosses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And shake it out. Feet together. Let's warm those knees up around one way. And around the other. One more time the first way. And the second. And then a little hamstring wake up. We'll stretch down towards the ground. And let's roll to come back up. Okay, let's start out with one of the foundations of my Zhonghua horn today. So we're going to go feet a little wider than shoulder width. And one of the things this drill is trying to do is teach us how to be quick and effective with turning and shifting in the hips while creating thrust in one leg and capture or catch in the other so that we're throwing our punches out. Then we want to circle around, grasp, pull through center, and twist and thrust and drive the other way. Now, as a calisthenic, there's a bit of a dip in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we go to deflecting, slipping, back of hand parries and slips with Wei Lung Bai Mei. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. So one of the other things that my jung helps us with is that twisting, but going even further, going from lateral to square to lateral. So we get reach and distance, and we've got this kind of click, clack of turning and shifting. So let's take a drill from our most recent set from the Sir William set, and we're going to go twist to punch, and then we're going to roll back and punch, and then we're going to twist to punch. So now, as a calisthenic, we're getting a bit of a calf stretch. We're getting this nice snap in. We're getting to coordinate the core for twisting and rotating. And we also want to get these ideas of push and pull, that rotation creates push and pull as a foundation of good martial arts, that if we're not just working a single limb, but we're working a rotation from the core one way, and then we're driving and thrusting into the ground to pull and come back. So we're going to go 1, 2, punch, pull back, punch, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do another set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And walk it in a bit. Okay, we're going to do one more foundation from the My Jung system. And this is a good coordination buster. Everything, again, trying to get all sorts of limbs working together. So we're going to go 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. This is a study in straight punch, straight kick work. So we want to be able to snap that back foot out and in front of us. At the same time, we want to coordinate that we could be grabbing and kicking, and grabbing and kicking and punching, and then punching. So the drill is back arm grabs. We're going to pull that in as we twist. That's going to fire the front arm and the back leg. And then as we step back, we punch to set up again. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we're going to change legs. So whatever leg is back, that arm is grabbing. Now, one of the reasons for all this chambering is because a big error people make when they punch is to flare their elbows a lot. So you'll see in a lot of traditional martial arts this kind of straight line. And why sort of mid-level? Because one of the more successful punches for self-defense is to blast somebody straight in the solar plexus. People who haven't taken and done a lot of body impact work, and even people who have, a good solid shot to the solar plexus is pretty much the end of most people's fight. So we're going to grab. There's some coordination. This is teaching us how to do the concept of pluck and grab and seize. So we seize, we gnaw, seize, and we pluck, we pull. And as we rotate, we want the other side. We don't want that elbow to flare. We want to slide and kick at the same time. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Right. And we'll shake it out a little bit. Okay, a couple of my jung exercises to get us warmed up. Let's look at some foundations from the I Chuan system, and then we're going to get back to our footwork that we've been doing this month. So let's go to a beautiful exercise from I Chuan on how to coordinate the upper body in order to, again, we can think of this deflecting and hitting, But this is the ball rolling exercise. So we're going to shift, we're going to roll, we're going to come up, we're going to roll, we're going to come up. And so we want to get our body so that all this footwork that we've been doing connects to being able to rotate the core, and again, push and pull, deflect and punch, snapping against limbs. We want to coordinate the body so that movement comes from grounded source, and that thrust into the ground is transferred through the spine, through the shoulders, and out into the arms. So we can circle, 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 circle. We want this to be fluid, to be smooth, to be consistent, not to be a 1, 2, 1, 2. We want this to be a 1. It just keeps rolling. Then we want to be able to change that direction. So this is a really good exercise for learning how to throw uppercuts, for slipping, for hitting, for catching. And then we want to roll it the other way. And this is good for elbows and straight techniques. We're rolling and kind of pushing through. So roll, 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 roll. A lot of nice, solid elbow strikes that we can coordinate out of this. Side palm strikes, straight down the line punches. Yeah, then we want to go back in the other direction for our uppercuts, little hooking kind of motions in here, and then back to the second direction, first direction, and the second direction. Good. Okay, wanted to get some movement going, but what we've been focusing on is a bit of footwork over the last while. And footwork's a big part of how we control distance. And a huge amount of self-defense and sparring and things of that stuff is about controlling distance. If you know your range and can control your range. So we see in our Xingyi, one of the first things we do in our Xingyi is we get this hand up position. This is a really good place to start in terms of body framing and body posturing and body language in a conflict, right? Hand up, covering that solar plexus, covering that face, covering our ribs, profiling our body in a position that we can understand reach and fire from that, or stepping in. There's lots of different things that we end up doing in our Xingyi, but this is not a bad place as our sort of default. Hey, you know, it's not threatening, but it is profiling, it is setting, it is creating distance, it's creating a bridge between us and the other person. It stops somebody from being able to move into our space. It makes it a little bit more difficult for them to find the jaw that they might be looking for, the side of the head they're looking for, the solar plexus, and we've turned the groin offline a little bit. Now, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to keep that kind of posturing. And in our base Xingyi, we always talk about our push, catch up, push, catch up. And in that pushing, we can think about reaching and extending, of setting up different movements, things of that sort. But right now we're focusing on being able to take this position and slip it in towards the other person a little bit. So thrust in the back leg, open with the front leg, catch up with the back leg. Boom, boom, boom. Now, Xingyi is not great in its sets about how to backtrack with something like this, but we talked about being able to go push from the front. So we talked about this one in terms of extending the stance, maintaining the stance, extending, getting back to where we want to go. So we want to go 1, 2, let's go forwards, 3, 4. Now, if you want to start thinking about extending, reaching, covering, you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then stop, have a look. Do you still have your good posturing? If you get too deep, it's hard to kind of stay in motion. If you get too narrow, easy to get toppled. So we're always looking for that compromise between stability and mobility. Let's try that with the other foot forward. So our base structure was from Xingyi, we've got elbow down. We don't want to be reaching high. That's leaving everything exposed here. We've got elbow down. We've got hand covering the core. covering the rib cage. We've got distancing, we've got framing. We want to move that frame from thrusting in the back leg to advancing with the front. And then we got to catch up with the back. Otherwise, that stance is going to get narrower, longer and longer, and we're going to lose the capacity for thrust. So what I like about Xingyi is it teaches us how to get that 60% back weight quite quickly. So we thrust, we catch, we're in a position that we can thrust again. So we've just been doing a quick drill. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Then we use the front leg. 3, 4. Back leg. 1, 2. Front leg. 3, 4. Now, let's look at what can we do when we get in with that stepping pattern. So I could be combining this stepping pattern, whether it's in a fist or whether it's in a palm, with reaching and driving into somebody's space. So I want to kind of time that to not arrive and hit. Xingyi's trying to teach us how to hit on the way in. So as we're extending the front foot, we're also going to think about extending the front arm a little bit. That could be a slip-in jab, boom. That could be a palm strike. There's lots of things that could be, little quick uppercuts. We've seen some of that if you've been training with me in the system. So we're going to go push, push. Then we're going to go backwards. We're going to frame off the person, push them away, push them away, push them back, push them back, push them away, push them away. Shove, 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 shove. Now that might also just be someone's reaching in your space. So you're using this hand as a parry, as an active way of protecting your head. Now you don't necessarily, you can also start to think about there, slipping a little bit, shifting, we'll get there. But for now, nice kind of drive, drive, back, back. What's this hand busy doing? This hand is busy getting a sense of range. So if I can reach, but then I totally fold. So let's use my blue wall hanging as a bit of a reference here. If I can reach to that with my front arm, and I truly fold into my front hip and rotate out of my back foot, notice that this hand is reaching just as far or further. So if I can touch them with the lead arm, or I can occupy that space with the lead arm, shifting in, rolling back, this backhand is in a position where it can fire, whether it's palm strikes, again, whether it's punches or things of that sort, but only if I articulate around the front hip. If I leave that front hip solid and I try to reach here, watch the difference in range. Here I've kind of got a brace. Here I'm settling in. And then the major thing we worked on at the beginning with those rotations, remember the dip, push, pull, is that I then rotate through my waist. And look at the difference in my range. Here I'm settled in deeply. If I brace with the front leg, I'm back here. If I lift my shoulder, I'm back here. If I don't rotate my torso, I'm back here. I fold in the hip and I turn through my waist, just like we did when we were doing the pull, kick, and punch exercise to warm up. And then I can be back to where I started. Shuffle in, shuffle out, shuffle in, hit, shuffle back, hit. Okay, so it's going to be more coordination now. So we're going to go press with the palm, drive with the fist. Press with the palm to go back, drive with the fist to fill that space. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, there's a lot of work you can do in terms of shifting offline, but let's get that coordination on being able to get the thrust from the ground transferred through the spine, transferred through the shoulders and elbows out to the hands. So I'm still working front leg left. I'm going 1, 2, backwards, 3, 4, forwards, 1, 2, backwards, 3, 4. If you want to change up your lead, you're welcome to do so. Most of us fight from a dominant lead, but it's always good coordination and for body health to work both sides of the body. So we want to coordinate that first strike with pushing. Let's do a 2. 1, 2 as we come forward. Let's go backwards. Push out of the front foot. 1. Push out of the front foot. 2. Forwards. 1, 2. Backwards. 1, 2. So let's now take this and add in a 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to come back. 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like saying this. Hey, hey, and we're going to come through. Or whoa, whoa, boom. We're going to come in. So there's that Xingyi framing. 1, 2, boom. Backwards. 1, 2, boom. The more we can drill stuff like this, the more the coordination comes together with it, the more effective it becomes. Okay, speaking of coordination, one of the things that we were working on was just focusing on the legs a little bit. So the other option that we talked about was shortening the distance and then lengthening and shortening. So this kind of has a 1 beat. 1, and then I settle. 1, and then I settle. This one's kind of like a 2. 1, 2, settle. 1, 2, settle. And this is a little bit more subtle. This can have my hand up here and my back foot's creeping in. So then I'm going to drive with my front arm. So let's try a bit of those. So in Kung Fu terminology, I call it stolen step. And you see a lot of work like this where you kind of go, you're touching down with one foot and coming out with the other. This means you can use it for quick little lead leg shots, right? If I want to use my lead leg to kick, I have to kind of pull back to weight the back leg. So instead of pulling back to weight the back leg, I slip up. I can kick, I can move in, slip up. That leaves this foot in a position where it can be used. And then I've got my number 1 movement, the extension and settle comes after that. So it adds an extra sort of beat and it takes a little bit more. This is what I call stolen step. So we steal a step, we push out, we settle. Slip up, push out. Slip up, push out, catch up. Now going backwards, same concept. Except now we're going to slip in this front foot, push back, catch up. 1, 2. This is a good way to kind of make a bit of distance. So here, if I used our first method, you can kind of see chest is in line with my blue wall hanging, and I can push back and make some decent distance. If I'm in that same position, but I pull my front leg in first and move back, notice I just created the amount of distance I pulled the foot in increases the amount of distance I can withdraw. Same with the stolen step going forwards. The amount I pull in increases the distance I can go forwards. Now we got to be careful. We don't want to start getting to a place where feet are in line, because a good person who watches 4 times for grappling and throwing, when those feet get collected together, that's a pretty good opportunity for them to scoop them up, take them out from underneath you. So let's try a little bit of that. So we go step up, thrust out, find that neutral position. Step up, thrust out. Now it's interesting, in the Xingyi and in a lot of the Kung Fu, we get a bit of a stomp. And the stomp is to help us to remember that it's a drive. Boom. We're kind of shifting upward landing, we're pushing. So we don't want to think about it, get the foot there, and then go. We want to think, as soon as the foot's there, I'm already moving. As soon as the foot's there, pull back, shuffle, pull back, shuffle. Okay. So those are 2 main ways of moving forward and back. And we also talked about how we have an X pattern and a plus, or the octagon, the 8 directions, or the asterisks, the 8 directions, the asterisks, our 45s, our straights, and our 90s. And so we could take this same exercise and work it that way as well. So instead of just, let's go to number 1 again, instead of shuffling on the straight line, we can shuffle on the 90. Instead of shuffling on the straight line or the 90, we can go out on the 45 and back on the 45. Out on the 45, back on the 45. And these are good drills just to kind of get used to. So you can see, again, looking at the wall hanging, straight, straight, I'm on line with that. 90 degrees, I get over to the side, but I don't make distance. I get over to the side, but I don't make distance. 45s, off to the side and distance, off to the corner and distance. So the 45s are often the ones we want to get pretty good at. And I can do that just as a way of getting in a bit, right? I could get used to just moving that foot in, boom, and then coming back, slipping back, getting off. And then we have to start thinking about how do we get back towards center? And that's where we start into our pivots. So before we start into pivots though, what happens if I want to catch the 45s on the opposite side than I was? I can't really shuffle to this 45 very well, maintaining my lead. So when we start thinking about those 45s, that's when we're going to start to change the lead. I'm going to make my front foot kind of become my back foot so I can shuffle on the 45. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm here, I want to get to the 45, so I load. If I was going straight, I'd walk in and change my lead. If I was going back, I'd step back and change my lead. If I want to find those corners, I have to step to those corners when I change my lead. So I'm pulling my back leg in, finding that corner, coming back, or coming back to my original lead. 45, I need to change the foot. 45 to the front, same side as my lead leg, I don't have to change. 45 to the back leg becomes a front leg. 45 to the back with the leg that's back is just a shuffle. 45 to the back with my lead leg becomes my back leg. Okay, so, time flies too quickly when we're doing this work. So let's talk about the pivots that we were doing. So we talked about how we can pivot on the back leg by taking the front leg into what we sort of called like an open position, or we could take that back leg and we could come across with it. So what's happening when I do this? If I rotate to the open side, I'm maintaining the same lead. When I'm here, I want to also maintain that same lead. I don't want to cross my feet over. I want to take this neutral position, but I want to pivot around my back leg. So I'm going to turn my back. I'm going to go left leg forward, and let's go open side, pivot, and then we are adding pressure. Come back to where we started. Come around on this on the rear leg side, pivot, pressure, come back to where you started. So 1, 2, come back to where you started. 3, 4, come back to where you started. 1, 2, and now we see in a lot of traditional martial arts, they're like, well, where are those pivots? Quite often the pivots are hidden, or not hidden, but include a slip in, slip out kind of motion. This draw in, pivot, turn. Draw in, pivot, turn. Karate is quite famous for this, where you pull in and then you drive and come forward. So the pivots are there. So we can do that as a step through, and we can also do it as making sort of a V pattern, in, out. What does a V pattern help for? In boxing, they don't tend to worry about it too much because they don't kick. In Kung Fu, we kick. So as we pivot, we could pull that foot in and shift that angle. We could, from here, as we pivot on the back foot, we could draw through. And remember that foundation we did at the beginning, where we brought that leg through? Well, now we're pivoting bringing that leg through. If you want to think about it as like the grab, pull, punch, kick, you could grab here, pull, punch, kick. You could grab, kick. So you can come around. And now we've got kicks and knees. So in systems that don't use their legs a lot, they tend to stay a little bit more open with their feet. For systems that use their feet, we tend to draw in slightly more because that gives us opportunities to involve those legs. Okay, so let's finish up today with just one more drill. So we were talking about the drill of pivoting on the back foot. So if we're pivoting on the back foot, that leaves us in a position for thrust, right? Because we're loading that back foot, we can thrust out of it. When we start pivoting on the front foot, we have to kind of transfer that. And that's where posture or movement number 2 with the stolen step can kind of blend in here. So let's say we're going to pivot on our front foot. We're going to swing our right leg around so that we're heading in the around to the left. So I'm pivoting. Boom. Let's come back. I'm pivoting. I'm thrusting off my right leg. I'm pivoting on my left. I want to find that nice neutral. Boom. Pivot. Find that nice neutral. Boom. If I want to open to the opposite side, to the rear leg side, I pivot. Neutral. So here I'm on that front foot. Pivot. Neutral. Now, what we haven't done too much of is moving and adjusting that front foot and pivoting at the same time. But it's good to get to understand your pivots a bit first. So pivot to open, roll back. Again, if I want to think of this in terms of kicking, I might pivot this in and be able to blast through with that leg. I might be able to pivot this around, boom, and kick with that leg. But I want to take a bit of distance. So I'm going to go pivot, thrust. So as I'm pivoting, I'm going to choke up a little bit, and then I can push out. So my stolen step is going to happen as I'm pivoting. So I don't pivot this foot all the way back. I'm going to pivot this foot like a stolen step position. So we'll go pivot, choke up, move in. Come back to where we started. Pivot, choke up, push through. Back to where we started. Let's just do 2 more. Pivot, choke up, push. Come back. Now, if you want to start thinking about that arm combo that we did earlier, you could go pivot, palm punch. We could go pivot, choke up, palm punch. Okay, I have to let it go. Time has zipped on by, but I hope that's giving you some work on footwork and distancing. We want to get comfortable, just being motion, corners shifting, moving, heads moving, bodies moving, shuffles, and we'll keep working on that in August. Thanks for training today. We'll talk to you soon.